like occupied territories are allowed legally to have like certain types of laws where they like differentiate in treatment of different like groups of people, because like it's a extraordinary situation usually connected to war, etc., and there are like various concerns. Like it's assumed that this is not your typical way of doing like how like you should run a state. No, this is like something extraordinary that's happening. It's like an exception to the rule. So yeah, the difference would be it's not like in USA and South African examples, it's a country applying it to its own territory. In Israel West Bank, it's not. Like that's a difference that I'm talking about.
Can I just throw something to the ring really quickly and then you guys carry on? Like at some point can you address like clearly there is a convention concerning apartheid. So can you like I don't know whether or not you want to appeal to that, Yoko, or Zeleny, can you show like why your concept of apartheid is more robust than the convention on the prevention of it at some point?
Why does he get to speak and I don't?
This is a debate between those two, and I get to speak as on Ahmad and on Beth.
I think Timothy raised an important issue that we can come to, but Zeleny, I just want to remind you of what you defined apartheid as. You said that it had something to do not just with territory, but with citizens. And what I'm reminding you of is that it doesn't, precisely because it has nothing to do with citizenship. It enables, I mean, you must be aware that African Americans didn't have civil rights until the 60s or the 70s, right? Like that's when they literally fought wars on behalf of the United States without ever having a passport. So going back again to the example of the West Bank, and we can refer to international law. I think Timothy raises an important issue about there's an entire body of law that relates to, or a body of research on what constitutes apartheid. But Zeleny, I'm just asking you, if there is one side controlling territory, I mean, you keep saying disputed and occupied territory, okay? And that's fine. I'm just asking you, if I give you examples, concrete examples, not just of separate roads, but of the ability of the Israeli occupation forces to shut off water, to shut off supplies, to control people's movements between one city and the next, between one village and the next, to literally build a wall that is separating entire communities from one another. If I tell you there's one side doing this to another, and that there's one side determining who gets any kind of rights and who doesn't, at a time when Israel proper has neither defined what a Jew is, nor drawn any borders as such, meaning it is currently in the process of a very, very real possibility of annexation, a slow annexation that's been happening for years and for decades. And when I tell you that inside 48 Israel itself, it has neither defined what a Jew is, nor has it acknowledged the full right of Palestinian Israelis to citizenship. It defines what a Palestinian Israeli is, what an Arab Israeli citizen is, according to the willingness of that Arab Israeli to learn their language and to do away with their own history. Like, this is an even more extreme version of reservation law, if you ask me. But I'm just saying, like, that citizen-making engineering process, right? Why is it that when Israel does it, it's not called apartheid, but when the whole world recognized that South Africa did it, it was called apartheid, and the world boycotted South Africa for it and pushed it into at least abandoning de jure apartheid, like legal apartheid, right? At least in principle. Why is it that when America had Jim Crow, today we're capable of recognizing and calling it Jim Crow and recognizing the legacies of settler colonialism and slavery as racism, and saying that we support the civil rights movement and its products, its results? Why is it that when we talk about the history of settler colonialism in general, we have a notion of the evils that it committed in the name of building its progressive states, but when we point to an example of an actually existing state today carrying out the same practices, okay, on land that is taken by violence, carrying out the same violent practices, you hesitate to apply the same principle. It's the same practices of separation, the same practices of engineering what counts as a citizen and what doesn't through ethnic cleansing. It is the same principle of controlling an entire other population while leaving open the door to decide who gets to be Israeli and who doesn't target. So it's
Somebody
very much
said,
the
I bet
same
this chick is
kind of
fat.
practices going on. These are practices of